Hello everyone, this is Mozart with the Saturday review of Bitcoin and new entry points. The previous long position was closed, and I also mentioned this yesterday. I decided not to wait for close to $70,000, and I will explain why. Not because I completely stopped believing that the price will touch $70,000, but quite the opposite. So I have only a third of the entire position left. There isn't much sense in holding a third until 70. I close near the last take profit, and right now it makes much more sense, for example, to enter roughly in the current range, with a full position, and to add another full position, meaning double the size. If there is a stronger correction, it will be a nice fundamental entry, in my opinion, rather than just dragging some leftovers until a victory. There is little sense in that. If the market is upward, it should be maximized. So what is the current setup? Look, I also wrote in the Telegram channel that if we consolidate above this green upward channel, it is quite likely that we will break through to 71 to 72 immediately. Moreover, all the channels I drew converge with this very interesting point. There are a lot of intersections here. The area around $73,000. It's just about taking out all the liquidity, all the stops that have accumulated here, and even right here at the very first big stop. There is a lot of liquidity here. There could be a catastrophic spike here if there is a cascade of liquidations. Because for more than 6 months, to be exact, there have been 220 days already spent in this sideways movement. A lot of liquidity has accumulated at the top. Meanwhile, we have seriously taken it off from the bottom. So look, right now we are above the monthly R3, I remind you, and above, most importantly, the green upward channel. But at the same time, we have divergence on the 4-hour chart. This is a 4-hour chart, and there is divergence on the indicators, both on the RSI and the MACD. Moreover, the RSI is also forming a head with reversal signals. Although, again, after such serious impulses, the throwback on the 4-hour chart was basically around 70 on the RSI. Well, plus or minus, that's normal. It's not the strongest impulse, but it's normal, although sometimes it can be stronger. So, basically, you can come down here, back up, touch these lows, and you can even take them out. It's somewhere around 66,500. You could even drop down to the lower boundary of this channel like this, to touch something a bit lower. But it's better to move around like this, take out this liquidity, and then go up. On this account, I have my first limit order set at 1 standard volume. The mark is $67,555. Everyone remembers, I set it at 1 standard volume. Moving on. If we suddenly close here, if something bad or negative comes out, or if there's back and forth, Trump starts to lose and Harris starts to win. Bitcoin is moving, breaking down, breaking this down, and going to test some reversal points, or the entire medium-term trend will change again. I apologize, the short-term trend. There is a second limit order on this matter, set deeper. This is for a retest, a full retest, which, by the way, has not occurred of the orange descending channel. As soon as we moved up on October 14th, there hasn't been another retest. 63,500, second limit order. If both work out, the average entry will be around the mark of 65.5 for the average entry. A stop for this entire impulse. In fact, this will signify the cancellation of the entire short-term movement. Well, there might already be a return to test the red channel. That is, somewhere to close all the gaps, like at 54 and so on, and to finish trading this candle that we didn't fully trade. Although it doesn't look like it right now, everything seems to be pointing towards growth. Plus, we have this closed figure that is quite beautiful, interesting, and complex, but seemingly closed. The targets for this figure are seen around 75, the first target. As in my previous forecasts and analysis, the global target is 80 to 83, and the long-term target is 90 to 110. Everything remains the same. However, locally, in the very short term, we have divergence, and we need to take that into account. Can it be removed? Yes, it's possible. just like that, shoot up to around 72, and then we'll take it all off and consolidate here with a further move upward. Objectively, the probability of this isn't the highest, although it does exist. I don't want to enter at the current levels. I set two limit orders. The stop is below the daily candle mark of $60,300, which is the stop for double volume, and one for a single volume. This is precisely aimed at $71,000 to objectively take the nearest liquidity but not reach. Further, so approximately somewhere around here. From the average entry, our stop will be -8 and the take will be +8%. Again, most likely, I won't hold this take. If all goes well, I will partially close half of it, and the other half I will throw in around 73 to 75. Because it's possible that only one limit order will work out. It might trigger and go straight up here. This movement won't be very sufficient. I will just be pulling the stop, what's called trolling. As for something interesting, we have the weekly time frame, which is essentially the same closed figure, but it's forming like this squeeze. If we look at the bodies, it's an inverted head and shoulders, the same thing. In short, there's nothing interesting here, although, I might repeat, there could still be a retest of this channel. Maybe we should. We need to keep that in mind. After all, we have exited, and even just technically, we should go and test this channel, and only then. Fly with a clear conscience, updating the history. Historically, keep this in mind. That is, this happens quite often. Therefore, the second limit order is at 65,500. Oh, I apologize, 63500. I don't know if it will give a retest or not. The average will be 65,500 in case of execution. Next, my EWP indicator has been shorting since August 5th, and so far it has been successful. I remind you that it hasn't had a single miss since the beginning of 2023, which means practically for 2 years. It has taken shorts with 2 take profits, with 3 take profits, and the last time it was with 1 take profit. Now, on October 16th, it has taken another short, but here it is only a third of the total volume, just 3, because the price was high. It took 3, and its stop is currently almost at $75,000, so it is still shorting. In bullish markets, such downward breaks according to EWP can be false. The same principle applied in 2021 when there was a Chinese ban, where there was also a false break. They successfully shorted multiple times, and then had one unsuccessful attempt. And here, they broke out and went long, reversing their position. Well, essentially, one stock can perform based on fundamental indicators, and that's not a big deal. That's all regarding Bitcoin. In summary, going long is only valid with caution because there may be a retest, and the cancellation point applies to the entire impulse that has occurred, essentially our last long position. That is, it went from peak to peak about 17%, and for the long position, it seems to be around 14.5% net. Moving on, but overall, this is a long. Overall, I just outlined some options for how this long might look. In short, it's either like this, or still like that, or somehow like this. Depending on the elections, Iran, Israel, and so on. As for Ethereum, for example, I won't say anything new about it. Our limit order at 25.55 has been executed. The same goes for Solana. The limit order has been executed. 152.22 has all worked out. Nothing changes here. These stops are all the same. Total 3 kappa. When it's the season, the same thing. This is what Sala looks like, for example, and Total 3 looks the same. It's a good formation, and I really like it. We tested it. The weekly chart for Total 3 is more indicative than for Bitcoin. They really pierce through everything, absolutely everything that could be. They are the 200-week and 50-week moving averages, the yearly moving average. They have been oversold. The goal is 720 billion for Total 3. It would be nice to achieve this goal by the end of the year. Plus, we have some beautiful reversal patterns closed here, like this, and this. There's also a squeeze going on, just like this, but a more beautiful squeeze. If we take it all the way to the top, we are going high, yes, to 720, just to capture these highs. This is Total 3, and not bad at all. We're compressing, and compressing, and it seems that there was a false breakout below the 200 moving average here. Ta-ta-ta, we walked around, took everyone out of the market, and now we're starting to gradually tighten up. Although, again, we don't expect it to go like this without any pullbacks or anything. No, it's quite possible that we might live through it all once more. We might drop down, or on the contrary, we might break up now, but then sharply drop down for a retest of the red channel, so that no one thinks everything will be good and quick, and only then we might pull up here, for example. But the main thing is not to panic. We can hold all medium-term positions, #table, without any problems. Everything will be fine there. Here is the forecast. Thank you all for your attention. This was Mozart. Have a great weekend, everyone, and goodbye.